Star Wars Outlaws is one of the most frustrating games I've played in a long time, and that's because this game should be incredible. It should be a Game of the Year contender, but everything in it is half-baked. I mean, within the first 10 minutes, I was met with visual bugs, followed by a game crash a couple hours later. Talk about a really strong first impression. And yes, unfortunately, visual bugs and game crashes continued throughout my entire playthrough, with the game crash happening about every hour or two during the 11 hours it took me to beat the game. I don't understand why this needed to be an open world game. Yes, being the first open world Star Wars game sounds great on paper, but while the environments look pretty in this game, I never felt the urge to explore the open world, and to make matters worse, you're not really encouraged to use the open world to your advantage to complete missions. More often than not, there is a very clear set path that you are meant to take in order to complete the main quest in this game. While I would try to play around and find creative ways to complete missions, I found it more often than not that I ended up feeling like I was getting punished for trying to be creative. Most of the time, adventuring off that golden path is going to result in you getting caught and failing the mission while wasting your time. The gameplay in Star Wars Outlaws feels like the Mary Jane missions from Marvel's Spider-Man mixed with the climbing and traversal from the Uncharted games, but this time it's the Dollar General Uncharted. Scaling the large set pieces and swinging from ropes to get from one side to the other never quite feels right in this game. The actual act of climbing feels choppy, there's no fluidity to it at all, and it will lead to some frustrating game overs. If you were hoping for a more action-packed adventure where you will get to blast your way through stormtroopers, this is not that game, and you are going to be disappointed. You will get that experience in small increments, but a majority of this game are those poorly constructed stealth missions. You will be repeating the same gameplay loop from beginning to end. Over and over again, you will be going to talk to someone, they will tell you they need something, it's in a heavily guarded base, you gotta sneak into the base, pick some locks, grab the fetch quest item, leave the base, and then either hop on a call with them and tell them the job's done, or actually go meet up with them every once in a while. Rinse and repeat that for hours. The most variety you are offered during these missions is you either have to go through the entire mission without being caught, or you have to go through the entire mission without setting off any of the alarms and putting the base on high alert. If you do happen to get caught, be prepared for some truly horrendous checkpoints, where you will have to restart entire sections of the game. Especially in the stealth side of things, where if you get caught, more often than not, you will have to start all the way over from the very beginning, going through everything all over again, and it can be really tedious. It doesn't help that the stealth sections are pretty bad. They make up a majority of the gameplay here, and somehow they still manage to feel tacked on. They really do feel reminiscent of those Mary Jane missions, but somehow they feel worse, which is even more confusing considering that a majority of the game is these stealth missions. It's also very disappointing that the combat feels soulless. They somehow managed to make using a blaster in Star Wars feel boring. It's not bad, it's just so uninventive and safe that there's nothing really exciting to talk about here. Even if you were to upgrade your blaster and mess around with the build, it does very little to make that moment-to-moment gameplay any more exciting. It is just competent enough to get the job done, but nothing more. Which is a shame, because there is a bunch of other weapons and weapon types throughout this game that you could use that feel way better than your main weapon. The only problem is they're all one-use items. You can pick it up, use it until the clip's empty, and then your character will throw it away. To make matters worse, anytime you open a door, climb a ladder, pick a lock, do any activity in this game, your character will say bye-bye to that weapon, and it makes it pretty much useless to actually pick them up in the first place. The main thing that kept me invested in this game was its characters and wanting to see the journey through to the end. They're not the best written characters out there, they are very one-note and tropey, but they're likable, and I wanted to spend more time with them. The story is fairly simple, job goes wrong, so you find yourself with a bounty placed on your head with a really high reward, so you're trying to put together the perfect crew to pull off the ultimate heist to get enough money to buy yourself back your freedom. Even though the story is very straightforward, it still manages to feel rushed at times. There are story beats in the game where large character development moments take place, and they kind of feel out of nowhere. It almost feels like large portions of the narrative were lopped out, which also results in some of the emotional story beats not being as effective as they could have been. I wanted to love this game, I really did. After getting Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown earlier this year, I was hoping Ubisoft would pull this off, stick the landing, and come out with another win that would potentially cause the studio to have a bit of a comeback going for them, but unfortunately, this wasn't a win for them. As weird as it may sound, I really hope this game gets a sequel. While it's got its flaws, I don't regret buying it and playing through it. I see a lot of potential here, and I really hope the studio gets another chance to come back and give us an Assassin's Creed 2 equivalent sequel for Outlaws. You have have fun characters, the game looks and sounds fantastic, the gunplay is almost good. I would love to see the studio learn from their mistakes here and come back with a smaller, more focused sequel. Maybe set the game on one planet instead of trying to juggle 4. I still hold out hope that one day we'll get a Star Wars open world game set on Coruscant, so maybe Kay Vess and her crew can pull off some more interesting jobs outside of Fetch Quest. Star Wars Outlaws, I'm happy I played you. I just wish I could say you were a good game. I'm gonna be giving Star Wars Outlaws a 4.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And in the meantime, are you gonna be picking up Star Wars Outlaws? Are you already playing it? And if so, what are your thoughts?